Welcome back to Final Expense Telesales. My name is Dana Neeson. We have made it to part 8 of our 10-part series of mastering the sales process, and today we're covering best practices for writing a successful application. After this, we will discuss the cool down, which is arguably the most underutilized part of the entire thing, right? The cool down is so important. And then finally, we will talk about best practices for post-sale value and asking and generating referrals. Now, if you are just now finding this channel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Again, my name is Dana Neeson. I'm the owner of Empowered Life Group. We are a remote telesales-based agency focusing on simplified issue life insurance. My job is to help you have stronger, more sophisticated sales conversations. And if you are interested in joining my team, all of my contact information is in the description below. I do group opportunity calls every Tuesday and Thursday, and I look forward to connecting with you on one of those. All right, so let's get to it. Now, for those of you who don't know my story, if you're just now finding me, I came from over 4 years at a captive company, meaning it was just one carrier, one application. You were either approved for immediate coverage or a 2-year waiting period, or you were declined. And that was it. The application was exactly the same. It was very streamlined and straightforward. We did voice signatures for 99% of our applications with a third party over at the company. And right when I was leaving, we were experimenting and testing with DocuSign. And that was as far as it got. So when I transitioned to be a broker, filling out the application for 10 plus carriers, that intimidated me a little bit. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to freak out. Like every single application is so different. Like, what am I going to do? Where do I even start? So if that's you right now, I am here to tell you it's really not as bad as you're making it out to be in your head. I'm going to give you 5 tips that will help you feel more confident in tackling the application process, no matter how many carriers you have. The first thing that you should do the second you get contracted with a new carrier is log into the portal and see if they have a sandbox. A sandbox is a demo application that allows you to go in and fill it out completely using fake social security information, fake banking information, and you can walk through the entire thing so you're familiar with the questions that it asks, the order in which the questions come. Does it lock you from going to the next page until you ask the questions before it? What are the signature options like, which we'll talk about in a second? But you absolutely have to take control and charge of your business by filling out the application yourself. Doing it actually activates a completely different part of your brain than if you just watch it or watch somebody else explain it to you. Now, if the carrier doesn't have a sandbox, I have filled out fake applications using the name tester. Could walk through the entire process, and then I just messaged the carrier and I asked them to cancel the application because it was a test. Number 2, know what your clients are capable of and know which application is going to match their capabilities. For example, you are going to have carriers that will allow you options for voice application, email application, and text application. Some of your carriers will only allow text. You have to know the difference, and you need to gauge that with your clients before you recommend the company and the options that you're going to give them. If you have the most healthy 72-year-old client who could qualify for Living Promise Mutual of Omaha, but they don't know how to put themselves on speakerphone in order to receive a text message, go through the HIPAA compliance, and then do it again with the pop-up blocker, now you've just offered them a product that they can't get. The best policy for your client is going to be the one that A, they can medically qualify for, but B, the one that they can sign. If they can't sign it, you are going to be walking yourself into a world of frustration, and now you're going to have to offer them a policy that's more expensive, and that's going to upset them, and you will possibly lose that client. So before you even offer them any options, you need to get a gauge of their technology capabilities. hey, Miss Customer, how are you with text messaging? If I were to pick a carrier here that only did the signature process by text, how comfortable are you in navigating through your phone? You will know where to pivot based on their ability to use technology. Same question with email. Sometimes we just have to do phone verification because that's the only way we can get the application done. So understand your carrier's options when it comes to text, email, and voice. Right off the top of my head, I know that American Amicable, Royal Neighbors, Gerber, and Sika all have options for voice signature. Make sure you have contracts with at least 2 of those so you have a go-to if you have to do a voice signature. Third tip, always try to collect the easy information first. Every single carrier has a different order of operations in which they ask and collect the information. Now, here's the tricky thing. Just because the carrier is asking for the social security number, maybe as one of the very first items, but you're on an application that is just like a long continuous scroll, be strategic and ease them into the application, meaning have an order of operations in your head. Collect their information, their address, where they want the policy sent to, then just go straight to beneficiaries. And who are we going to list on the policy as your beneficiary? Get them committed by putting down their children's name, their spouse's name, whoever that beneficiary is going to be. Collect that contact information. Get that first. Then you want to transition to maybe some of the health questions that you have to answer on that to be compliant. Maybe talk about replacement if that's something that you have to do. But then you're going to ask the hard information at the end. Okay, now depending on the carrier, you may have to write some of the easy information down so you can insert it once you get to that part of the application. But I promise you, you will have a much easier way of getting all the information if you start with the easy stuff first and then go into the harder stuff. Once you ask for beneficiary and you get their contact information, where do you want the policy to go to? Who are we protecting? Okay, perfect. And to run your prescription history check, I do need your social security number. Okay, fantastic. Let's go on to the health questions. And if we were able to get you approved today, what day would you like this policy to start on? And what bank do you want to use to collect the monthly payment? Right? You get where I'm going with that? So you want to start easy to hard. Don't go for the jugular right out of the gate. Number 4 kind of coincides with the understanding your client's ability to know the signature process. Number 4 is know what the signature process looks like on the client side. So we've talked about doing a sandbox application. We've talked about doing a fake application if a sandbox doesn't exist. We talked about knowing which options are available for your signature options for your client and the different type of policy you're writing. But what does it look like on the client side when they get a text message? This is one of the number 1 places I see agents getting stuck. So if you're going to take the time to go through the application, take a screenshot, take a screen recording, find out what is the experience going to be like on the client side so I can see what they're seeing in real time. If your client happens to use an iPhone and you have an iPhone, you can FaceTime them, do a screen share, and control their screen with them or circle where they need to tap and walk them through it. But worst case scenario, at least have attachments for what the client experience is like so you can refer to that. As soon as they get the text or the email, you can tell them to click here, this is what you should see. There's nothing worse than being in the blind and just saying something like, well, tell me what you see. And the 5th tip I have for a smooth application process is have a templatized email ready to go that pops in all the information, a summary of what they just got, so you can download the application, send it as an attachment, and send it to them in an email as soon as you get that approval. That will solidify everything that they just did and make them feel really comfortable that they completed the application with you and they have a copy of it right now instead of waiting for the carrier to send them the policy packet in a few weeks. Bonus number 6 is understand how to use Crankwheel. Some people find it uncomfortable to go through the application process. They start to get a little nervous when you ask for sensitive information. So a really good tool to use is is an app called Crankwheel. It's actually a website. You need to sign up for this. It is a free service. You get 10 screen shares per month. And please practice this before you practice it on your client for the first time. But what it does is it sends your client a text message. They click on the link and they will see your screen. And if you turn on the camera feature, they can see you as well. And this will allow you to walk them through step by step of the application process, and they can see it as you're going through it. So they'll even see on the box where it says, what is your social security number? And if they can see that and they can see you, that will create even more legitimacy in the process. The bottom line is the last thing you want to find yourself in is in a situation where you have spent 30, 40 minutes on the phone with someone who wants life insurance and you lose them because you haven't put in the time to know and understand your applications. I have seen so many people lose people at the very end because they were unfamiliar with what comes next and how to ask for information, in what order, and what the signature process entails. Don't do that. Be equipped ahead of time so that you don't lose unnecessary business and help more families. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you on video 9 when we talk about the cool down.